Well, I got my hands finally on the lawsuit that was filed by Donald Trump and his lawyer Alejandro Brito against the Murdoch organization, News Corporation, effectively Fox News, if you will, in Miami. I'm going to break down for you, as a Florida lawyer that practices in these courts, what the filing says. And I've got a little Easter egg for you. I think there's a reason that they chose to file the case in Miami, because they wanted to purposely, my opinion, avoid filing it up in Palm Beach County, where they could have drawn Judge Cannon. This is the rare case where they didn't want to draw Cannon. I'll tell you why on this hot take. Let's get into the filing, how we got here. About 3 days ago, the Wall Street Journal published a bombshell article based on their fair reporting that they had gotten a copy of the scrapbook, or the letter inside the scrapbook of a birthday scrapbook put together by Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator in the pedophile predator ring run by Epstein and her, which raped girls. Donald Trump having befriended Epstein for decades. That's all irrefutable facts, immutable facts based on Donald Trump's own testimony, including in newspaper reporting at the time. The Wall Street Journal got a copy of the scrapbook. It was a scrapbook, and in it was a section devoted to a contribution by Donald Trump, which is what they believe, having spoken. This is the journalistic integrity part of the hot take. It is obvious that they spoke to the FBI, to maybe the U.S. Attorney's Office, who were investigating Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And that this was part of the evidence. I don't know if it went to the grand jury, but certainly it was in the evidence toolbox that the FBI agents reviewed. It was provided to the Wall Street Journal. They did a fair report on it. They don't say whether it's true or false. They say it is something that the FBI reviewed, and they describe what the evidence was. The evidence is a card handmade somehow by Donald Trump, in which it has a typed dialogue, and then it has a body picture. A body's, I hate that word. It's a X-rated sketch of a naked woman by someone who then signs his name with a black Sharpie pen with Donald Trump's signature, where the signature is the woman's vagina or pubic hair, yes, and a comment about secret lives and secret enigmas and all this other crap. It's in a book. The book was given on the 50th birthday of Epstein. There's other people in that book that we know, like Alan Dershowitz, who, when he was reached, he says, maybe, can't remember. Yeah. This is like going back to finding a yearbook from your high school and then saying, that's not me in the photo of the lampshade on my head, or, I didn't write like that. Okay. So the Wall Street Journal runs the article showing the close connectivity between Donald Trump and Epstein. I don't know why this is even in dispute. Just a year before the scrapbook, Donald Trump, in a New York Magazine interview, said he had been close friends with him for 15 years at the point of 2002. And that he's a funny guy. They like to chase women together. Donald Trump's quote. They both like, and that Epstein likes young women, an acknowledgement that Trump recognizes that there were a lot of young women or girls hanging around Jeffrey Epstein. And yet that didn't stop him from being his wingman when they were both single or not so single, or Trump stepping out on marriages. So you've got this timeline, 2002, 2003. Now, several years later, Epstein is finally outed as the predator and raper of girls that he is. And of course, Donald Trump's all embarrassed by it. He first tries to use that death of Epstein a few years ago in his jail cell to his advantage. He promotes the hoax conspiracy that the Clinton family was involved with it. He loved the Epstein conspiracy theories when it worked to his advantage. When it turned on him, and now he's being tarred with that predator brush and the cover-up brush, now he's firing back with the lawsuit. So he he threatened to file the lawsuit against the pile of garbage Wall Street Journal, and then showing a complete break between him and Rupert Murdoch, who also owns Fox News. He filed the lawsuit in Miami. I have a copy of it. I'm going to go over it with you. A couple of comments in advance. Rupert Murdoch wants this fight. There's no other way to put it. This does not get published in the Wall Street Journal without Lachlan Murdoch and Rupert Murdoch approving. There's no way they do it. Second thing is, there's no way they publish it without having at least 3 corroborating pieces of information and evidence to support this. The reporters saw the letter with their own eyeballs. I'm sure it was provided by a credible source. Maybe the FBI agent, maybe the U.S. attorney outgoing. I don't know. Maybe it was Maureen Comey. Let's put that together. Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, just got fired by the Trump administration. She had been the prosecutor for Ghislaine Maxwell. Successfully prosecuted her. She's serving 20 years for her role in the predator sex trafficking of girls. Now, if I had a guess, maybe, this is just a theory now, but it sounds credible to me, that maybe they figured out that Maureen Comey had cooperated with the reporters, and maybe that's why she was fired. Hold that thought, just a working theory. Okay. So you've got reporters who have seen the letter, seen the scrapbook, seen others' contributions to this yearbook, to the scrapbook, birthday scrapbook, including Alan Dershowitz, who was linked to Epstein at times. And then you've got Donald Trump having to do what he always does, distract from a terrible week where it got revealed that the FBI has been scrubbing the files, looking for names of Donald Trump and all of their internal files. Now that Donald Trump got it back into the White House, right? You've got that. You've got his former chief of staff who just gave an interview who said, obviously, he's in the Epstein files. You've got reporting from Michael Wolff, who says he's seen the photos of Trump with girls on his lap. This was a bad week. And so to make it worse, Trump decides he's going to republish and make the story bigger about his relationship with Epstein, including in the complaint, which is the pleading you file in a lawsuit, republishing the very thing he says was so damaging to him. Verbatim. All right, let's start with process. I think that's one of the reasons you come to Legal AF, to kind of get that insider knowledge. It starts with a civil cover sheet. And here it is. I'll post it on Substack for Legal AF. Couple of interesting things I picked up there. As I suspected, Alejandro Brito at his law firm in Coral Gables, Florida, filed it just like he filed the ABC action against Stephanopoulos, just like he filed the case against Paramount and CBS. It's a libel case, so that box was checked. They want a jury trial, so that box was checked. They're bringing it into federal court by arguing that there is a diversity of jurisdiction, that Trump lives in, I guess, resident in Florida, and Wall Street Journal, Murdoch, and all New York. So you have 2 different states, nationalities on either side of the V, plus you've got amount in controversy of a certain amount, you get into federal court, diversity jurisdiction. Here's the interesting Easter egg for me. They purposely check the box from Miami-Dade filing. Okay, why is that important? The federal court system in Florida, in the Southern District of Florida, which runs from Fort Pierce down to Key West, is divided into divisions. Fort Pierce Division, West Palm Beach Division, Fort Lauderdale Division, Miami Division, and then down in the Keys, Monroe County and all that. You're supposed to file within the district, which is a large district, you're supposed to file in the courthouse or the division closest to your residence. The closest to Donald Trump's residence is Palm Beach, right? West Palm Beach filing. West Palm Beach filing, there's effectively 3 judges there. One senior status named Judge Middlebrooks, right? A Clinton appointee who already threw the book at Donald Trump and Alina Habba once for a fake filing the first time, where he was sanctioned $1 million and his case dismissed when he sued Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party, and everybody else 4 years ago. That's one judge, senior status, over 70. 2, Judge Rosenberg, very great judge. 3 is a judge named Judge Aileen Cannon, who sits up in Fort Pierce, but occasionally comes down to West Palm Beach. So when you file there, you have a 1 in 2 chance of getting Cannon. They didn't file there. Fort Lauderdale, they have no connection. Down to Miami. They really don't have a connection to Miami, to be frank. That's not closest to Palm. That's 70 miles from Mar-a-Lago, south. But they did it. They have filed in Miami a lot. They filed the Cohen case, Michael Cohen case in Miami. They file a lot of cases in Miami. Nobody's ever challenged that that's the wrong venue. Move it to somewhere else, because for the other side, for the Dow Jones and the Murdochs, they're no better off in Fort Lauderdale or up in West Palm, and they're afraid of getting cannon. So they stay in Miami. There's about 18 judges down there. I know a lot of them. They had been state court judges and different things. They'll get the assignment. But Donald Trump doesn't care about the assignment. He's never going to get the quote unquote billions of dollars that he's claiming in this case. By the way, you don't have to put in a pleading the amount of money that you are seeking. You just have to allege over the statutory minimum, which he already did. That's all for news purposes. So here's my canon theory. You see all the firings and potential firings and targets on the back of a lot of different people at the Department of Justice, including Pam Bondi. One theory is that Bondi goes and that they try to bring in somebody like DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who's term limited out. But earlier in the process, when they were still in the president-elect phase, there was credible reporting that Trump was considering Eileen Cannon to be the Attorney General. Eileen Cannon, Attorney General. Get it? Or Eileen Cannon, United States Supreme Court, or an opening at a higher level appellate court. She was an appellate lawyer on the Department of Justice before she got this gig as a federal judge. So I think they did not want to ruin the opportunity to elevate Eileen Cannon or kick her up to the Attorney General position by filing a case and having it assigned to her, making it look bad if it took a while to put her into the place that she had been on his case so recently. We all know she did him a solid during the criminal case related to Mar-a-Lago and the search warrant, and was the first judge in 200 years to find that an attorney general can't appoint a special counsel as special attorney without going through Senate confirmation, something that the Trump administration has just done on their own to try to salvage some of their U.S. attorney picks. So there we have that. All right. Now you got the filing. The filing is just a report that the Dow Jones and the reporters, with actual malice, reckless disregard for the truth, or knowing that what they said was false, suggested that the letter is true, and Donald Trump says it's not true. Donald Trump's going to have to disclaim the entire scrapbook, this trapped in amber moment it's like a time capsule from 2003 made by Ghislaine Maxwell. How's he going to do that? But he then republishes it by giving the outline of it. You know, he says, well, I never typed it. I didn't. And they suggested I did, and I didn't write it. And look, this is reporting. You're a reporter. Think about the First Amendment. You get dumped in your lap the scrapbook from an FBI agent or from Maureen Comey or from U.S. attorney or from some other credible source. You have to be able to report on it. You're not saying it is, you're saying what your eyes are seeing. You're saying that it has his signature on it. You're saying that it has it is at least a facsimile of his signature, and you're leaving to the public whether it's true or not. You know, and that is the proper purpose of the First Amendment. So all he does is sort of republish something that he says was so damaging to him, which also undermines the argument that he's been damaged at all. There are defenses, of course, and this might not even survive a motion to dismiss this new lawsuit. The standard defenses for a paper like the Wall Street Journal is first, that in order to sue for defamation as a public figure, as public as Donald Trump, you have to demonstrate what is a term of art we call actual malice, which comes from a case called New York Times versus Sullivan. In actual malice, you have to show that the reporter and the editorial board and all of that at the paper either knew this was false, this facts, or that it was reckless in their disregard for the truth or falsity of it. They're not reporting facts. They're reporting a mixture of facts and opinion based on what have been observed because they got a copy of the letter and or the scrapbook. And I'm sure they've spoken to people that have seen it as well, because they said, we've spoken to people that have seen it as well in real time. So you've got an actual malice defense, which means Donald Trump can't prove actual malice. The burden is on him. It's not really a defense. It's an element that has to be shown for defamation. Then on the defense side, they have something called truth. It's true. What we wrote is true or substantially true, and therefore you can't sue me for defamation because you can't be defamed by the truth. Fair reporting privilege is also another privilege that's given to generally to news reporting agencies, that if they're fairly and accurately reporting an event, a document, a public record, an official record, something that they've like something from the grand jury, something from the evidence box. If they do it accurately, which they did in the article, fair reporting privilege is a common law privilege which blocks any liability for them. And that's something that they should be able to obtain on, that defense should be able to be proven on a motion for summary judgment. Ironically, Donald Trump himself tried to use fair reporting privilege when he was sued by E. Jean Carroll for defamation, claiming that he was just reporting fairly, and accurately the facts, like he was some sort of news agency. He lost there. He obviously knows what the fair reporting privilege is because he tried unsuccessfully to use it for himself. And then you've got the other First Amendment privileges that come. I don't think they get out on motion to dismiss. We don't have a judge yet. That's why I haven't talked about it. We will. I'll come back on and talk about who the judge is and what my thoughts are about that. That'll be the next day or so. But these are the defenses, either on motion to dismiss or more likely a motion for summary judgment. But keep an eye on those two things I just said. Did Maureen Comey cooperate with the Wall Street Journal? Is she one of the corroborators for the article about the scrapbook with Donald Trump's card in there? Keep an eye on that. We will. And secondly, why didn't they sue up in West Palm Beach to try to get Cannon? Is it because she's on a renewed, new short list for Attorney General to replace Bondi, or to be elevated to an opening on one of the appellate courts, or an opening in the future on the Supreme Court? Remember, on the MAGA right, you got two 70-year-old plus guys, Alito and Thomas, and they're looking for a reliable person to replace them with. And so I don't think they wanted a current active pending case in front of Aileen Cannon. She's already proved her bona fides by helping them out in the Mar-a-Lago prosecution. I'll continue to follow it all. While you're here, hit the free subscribe button. Help us continue to grow this channel in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. We're at 720,000, which is remarkable. We're moving towards 1 million subscribers, over 200 million views of our work. We've been around only since September. That's a testament to you. I'll keep doing my job here as the curator and the managing editor, if you will, of the channel. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.